Again, we're very excited to have you both here today. So thank you for coming on to talk more Yu-Gi-Oh news.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it because boy, am I excited what Grunt had first for us. It's the Ghostrick support. And I like his little title here of a host of new festival of support. I love it because that's one of the cards' names here. So the first one here, Ghostrick Serene. Now this is interesting. It's a level 4 monster. For those of you who don't know, Ghostricks have almost always been 1 through 3. So that's a big deal. We get a level 4 here. So it's fairy, cannot be normal summoned unless you control a Ghostrick monster, which is very common. They all have that effect. If this card is normal summon or flipped face up, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Then, if there was a Ghostrick card among them, you can apply one of these effects. Add one Ghostrick spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Change one effect monster your opponent controls to face down defense position. And then the second effect, which all the Ghostricks have, once per turn you can change this card to face down defense position. And then we've got the Link monster, Ghostrick Festival. It's just one material. You can use a face down Ghostrick monster as material to link summon this card. And that's unique because I don't know of any other Link monster that allows you to link like that. But
There's
you
only
can.
one.
Oh, is there? Okay, so there is another one. We'll have to talk about that. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. Your Ghostrick monsters can attack directly while there is a Ghostrick card in the field zone. And then 2. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you contribute this card, special summon one Ghostrick monster from your deck in face down defense position. Now, being a Ghostrick guy, I do like this support. I'm going to go through the other support, but I already have experimented a little bit with this Link monster, and I do like it. So we'll continue to look at what the rest of the support is here. So the next one here is Ghostrick Shot. It's a normal spell. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1. Special summon one Ghostrick monster from your hand or graveyard, and then you can change one face down Ghostrick monster you control to face up attack position. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Ghostrick Xyz monster you control and attach one Ghostrick card from your graveyard to it as material, which is so good. Absolutely good. And then we have Ghostrick or Treat. It's a normal trap. If you control a Ghostrick Link monster or field spell, target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Your opponent can pay 2,000 life points to make this effect become set this card face down instead of sending it to the graveyard. Otherwise, this turn, that target cannot attack, its effects are negated, and it is changed to face down defense position during the end phase. Okay, and then I think there's one more. Oh no, that's it. Yeah. So first of all, guys, I really, really, really like this support. Ghostrick Shot is amazing. Because you special summon one Ghostrick monster from the hand or your graveyard. More than likely, it's going to be your grave. Then you can change one face down Ghostrick monster you control to face up attack position if you want to. Then I like the second effects that you can attach a Ghostrick Xyz monster you control. Attach one Ghostrick card from your graveyard to it as material. I would automatically go for the Xyz monsters because they give you stuff when you detach them again. So it's a nice way to recycle. And then again, the Link monster I really like because it gets you any Ghostrick from the deck. So that's some pretty solid support in my opinion. Being someone who plays the deck often. Grunt, I know you've messed around with this a bit if I'm not mistaken. What are your thoughts?
So, Siren is interesting because, obviously, like you said, she's the first main deck level 4 they've had, so that's kind of my one gripe with her, is that being level 4 is kind of a shame in this deck because nothing else in the deck is level 4 naturally. That's part of the archetype. There's no level modulation. So, right now, she can't really be used as material with any of the other
Yeah.
ones, which I think is kind of a downside. If they make more level 4s in the future, I mean, hey, maybe this is things to come. But it's just kind of awkward. You can't go into Dullahan with her, obviously, or any of the other normal lists you
Yeah.
can go into. So
Yeah, the
it's
only
kind
one
of
I could
nice.
even see would be Doll, not Doll, Angel, because I believe she's a level 4, but you can use an Xyz monster to rake her up as well. She's very limiting in that way in terms of the support. I think the goal there is literally just to start getting you your spells and traps from your deck to your hand. But I use other support cards that aren't necessarily Ghost Trick to make the Ghost Trick deck work. So the effect is very risky,
Right.
in my opinion.
It's weird because either they haven't translated it properly or I'm just misreading things, but he's not a hard once per turn, which is kind of odd. A lot of the ghost tricks like Skeleton
Oh
or
yeah,
any of them
skeletons.
honestly,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stein or they're usually all hard once per turn. She unless they didn't translate it right because it's only OCG right now, she doesn't seem to be hard once per turn, which means you could in some situations maybe proc the same copy once or twice if you flip her. So it's interesting, and the idea that you can just add any ghost trick spell trap, it's definitely better than Stein, having to inflict
Oh
battle
yeah. Yeah.
damage.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. She's interesting. I think she'll see some niche use. It's just that even in a deck full of ghost trick cards, you're only milling two, and if you don't mill your ghost tricks, you're milling something else that's not a ghost trick. It just
Yeah.
kind of fizzles.
And yeah,
The
and you
links is
need it.
great.
Yeah, you usually need it too. That's the part I don't like about it. You know, if you get rid of your swords of concealing light, or you get rid of like a lightning storm or something, that's a hard mill to deal with. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
That's very tricky. But
they
continue
could
what you
have
were gonna
had
say
her.
about the link monster.
I'll just finish real quick and say for Siren, literally they could have had her just search on flip, and it would have
Mm-hmm.
been fine. She would not
Yes.
have made the archetype tier 0. So I really wish they had just gone with that, especially since again she doesn't have any toolbox utility with her level. But uh, going back to festival though, I mean. There's not much else to say about it. It lets all of your ghost tricks attack directly while you control a field,
Mm-hmm.
which in Ghost Tricks, you're ideally gonna have a
Yep.
field, one way or another, whether you're searching it, whether you're using terraforming, or
Yeah.
running multiple copies of Parade or Mansion. I
Uh-huh.
don't think they usually run Museum. They could, but
Yep.
you
Yep.
get the idea. And the fact that it's almost like it's almost like Lantern or Jack Frost, and how it is able to essentially proc off of your opponent attacking.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you can just summon any ghost trick from your deck and face down defense, I mean, that is pretty useful depending on if you want to get to a key piece like Skeleton or,
Yeah.
it depends on your deck. I know there are ghost trick mill decks, I know there's ghost trick other decks that don't rely on mill, so
Yeah.
it allows for a lot of experimentation, and I
It
think that
does.
it just keeps going because you can. With Ghost Trick Shot, obviously, anything you have in your graveyard can recur itself.
Oh, and I love that because that's how the deck gets going. It does a lot of that where it gets stuff out of the grave. So if you guys were watching last night, literally off Angel, I send the Xyz monster that I leveled up with, and then that
hmm
Xyz monster, if you have Dulon or if you have Alucard go, they give you stuff back that is usually critical to making the deck work. Yeah, so Ghost Trick Shot, boy, that's a to me that's a three of that you're
Well,
without a doubt
yeah.
playing.
And then if you normal set a Ghost Trick, and literally, if you're going first, like you could normal summon. Well, actually, let me double check because you can't normal Siren normally. Yep, nope, because you know a Ghost Trick. The point is, you could literally, if you open up with any Ghost Trick and this, you could just, um, set the Ghost Trick. Then you could bring out the Link Monster and then Ghost Trick Shot, and you're able to essentially bring back or summon something from your hand.
Yeah.
Or if you want to special summon something from your hand before you commit to a normal summon, maybe you don't want to just normal set. Like, there's utilities in the early game and the late game. The only thing that, in my opinion, really sticks out here is the trap. It's cute. It's a cute trap.
Uh
I
huh.
honestly, it's
Artwork's
about
cool.
time they make a trick or treat joke. But
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I it is what it is. Your opponent could pay 2,000, otherwise it's a better imperm, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also not a hand trap like imperm, so I don't know. This is a cute trap. It's in a deck where you don't necessarily need it, so if you want to run one copy, you can search it, but
Yeah.
eh,
It,
that's
it
probably the one that's probably the one miss in this entire set of
it
support, but
is.
everything
I
else
don't
is
like the
amazing.
2000, and I get the trick or treat idea here. You know that you're making a choice, you're allowing your opponent to make a choice, but still, they really missed the opportunity there. That would have been great for the deck, just because it really needs more stuff to get it going, like this card could be.
Hmm.
Carlos, your thoughts?
Okay, so I want to preface this by saying I haven't played with Ghostricks too much. I think I've maybe played with it once or twice, but this was years ago, so
Uh huh.
I'm not super familiar with the
Yeah, the
playstyle.
deck's
Like I know
old.
what I know what it does, so I do have some opinions. First of all, I like that the Link monster lets you attack directly.
Yes.
Because something I realized you could do is you can normal summon one of the Ghostrick monsters, link off into the Link monster. Then if you have the spell card, you can revive the Ghostrick monster.
Oh
um,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
you can revive the Ghost Trick monster. If you have an extender, you can special summon an extender from your hand, overlay into one of the XCs. Then you can use like the I'm not sure if the spell card lets you use both effects in the turn, but you can use the spell card,
It
attach a ghost.
does.
Yeah.
Okay, then you can use the spell card, attach one from the graveyard, and then you could attack directly with the XCs. And then you know what that means? That means you're slapping on a Zeus, which is good.
Oh
I
yeah.
You
That's
could
a
run Zeus in
great
this.
point.
I also like how I also like the spell card being a monster born. That's always good. Now it's searchable. That's pretty cool. The fact that you can attach one from the graveyard is also really cool because I'm pretty sure there's a ghost trick that's a win con if you have like 10 or more materials or
Yeah.
something like that.
Angel.
Yes,
Yeah,
the rank
Angel
4
is.
Angel
Yeah.
does
So
that.
that's kind of good if you're trying to choose how to win that way.
Yeah. Which I'd
Um,
be amazed if someone ever pulls that off in a duel. So I've gotten to 8 before. It's
I bet. But so yeah, that's my thoughts. The monster Serene. I like that it searches a spell or trap. I mean, that's always good.
Mhm.
Obviously, you have to hit a ghost trick, which
Yeah, that's where it's
if you're
risky.
if you're playing a pure ghost trick deck, great. If you're not, kind of sucks. But if you do
Yeah.
hit a ghost trick monster, you got to think. If you do hit a monster, you can search the spell card, and then instantly you have an extender from the graveyard, which is amazing. So
Yeah.
overall, I think it's good support. The trap is okay, like Brent
Yeah.
said, it's whatever, but it's a good support. And then I do really like how the festival, like I know I already said it lets you attack directly, but I'm pretty sure that's their whole play style. Like if they have
Yes.
their field spells, they can attack directly
They
when your
can.
opponent has
And
all
they
their
do
monsters
regular
set.
damage. So like if you have museum on the field, it does regular damage. If not, if it's another monster, it's half support. Face down cards can't be targeted, or they can't. You can't attack them if that makes sense. So yeah, they all do
Yeah.
different tricky things. Hence the name Ghost Trick. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it definitely fits the archetype very well.
Well, overall, I think it's really good support. I don't think anyone's going to complain. And
No,
I
So
like,
yeah,
and I do like how every year around Halloween time we get some more Ghost Trick support. That's a
yes,
tradition
thank
I
you.
definitely
Yes, let's keep
appreciate.
that going, Konami. Absolutely.
So I mean, festival is quote unquote. I say this as lightly and nicely as I mean as possible. Festival is essentially training wheels. It essentially buffs the field spells because the field spells have it where, yes, your ghost tricks can attack directly, but you need all your opponent's monsters to be face
In
down to do
defense, yeah.
so. And Link's, I'm not saying Link's killed Ghost Tricks because Ghost Tricks were never meta,
Hmm.
but Festival essentially lets you go around that restriction and say, oh, you have a field spell. Well, Ghost Tricks, I mean, what are they going to do? You can all attack directly. You don't need your opponent to have every single thing face down. So it fixes one of the deck's more recent issues, which,
Yeah.
hey, that's good.
Well, and honestly, though, the Link era really did hurt the deck. You know, going to locals, it was amazing the times where I would finish in second place with it because every October I play the deck no matter what. And so the key was flipping everything face down before my opponent could link. That was a nightmare trying to do that against Goki. But there's just so many interactions that have to go your way if the deck's ever going to work, and it's extremely controlled base. I mean, it's very difficult to do that with links. But now that people aren't using links as heavily as they once were, it's nice to see that the deck is getting played more. But yeah, I agree with both of you. This is definitely the right direction. Now, something that has happened though is that the cards have absolutely skyrocketed. So I actually have this up here for everyone to see because it's insane. So Ghostrick Mary is at $20. That's crazy. $20 for the super rare that was part of the Megatins Mega Pack back in 2014. Ghostrick Lantern is $13 for a super rare. I mean, this is getting really high. Angel I can handle. It's only about $2 here, maybe three. Dulon, that's around three as well. Those are fine. But man, if you're gonna play the deck, you have to have Lantern at three. It's an absolute, because with links, Snow does absolutely nothing. That doesn't help whatsoever because it has to target and then flip the card face down. So it's not going to work the way you want it to. Honestly, I think Mary's overhype. I could honestly play the deck with maybe one or two at the most. So I'm shocked that this is as high as it is. But Konami, come on, give us the reprints here because these decks are starting to get really out of control with their pricing. Gentlemen, in the future, can you picture a set where they're going to try and reprint these? Because I don't even feel there's a ton of people playing it.
You always find times to reprint the stupidest, and I don't mean that to say Ghostricks are stupid. I'm just saying they have reprinted some very stupid things like Chaos number 9, or what else did they reprint recently? A lot of the stuff in Ghosts of the Past that didn't really need a reprint, like some of the Metal Foes stuff. It Konami will always find stuff to shove in as a reprint, and I mean, Ghostricks obviously have a following to where they're being bought out, so again, Konami has reprinted stuff before that didn't deserve the reprint as much, so I could see us getting these reprinted, in the next year or two. I mean, maybe they won't. Lantern's always been around a $10 card because, again, you essentially need it for the deck.
Yeah.
Mary, I forget where Mary even was a month ago.
She's not that great. You just discard her when you take damage and you add a card to the hand. I mean, I don't know.
She doesn't do that. She summons any Ghostrick from your deck and face down defense.
Oh, I thought it was they get added to the hand. I'm actually checking. Oh, I guess hang on. You can discard when you take damage, discard this card, special one from your deck and face down defense position. I mean, I don't know. I think that card is just overhyped. I've almost never needed it. In fact, when I see it, I don't even like it. It's got some uses, but oh man, the art's great. The art looks fantastic, but I don't know. I think it's way overhyped based on someone who's used the deck for years.
For reference with the hype, Angel of Mischief, when I added her in this slide, like, over a week ago, she was going for, like, 7 or 8, because she only has the one printing, and now she has cooled back down to, like, $3, $2. But, yeah, that's the thing. They didn't reprint Ghostrick Angel of Mischief, for quite some time. I mean, they've only have the one printing of her, so if you want a nice hollow print of her, I mean, it doesn't hurt to pick up your copies now.
Oh, yeah.
It's cheap enough. Yeah. If you want to wait for the reprint, sure, but it's not like Lantern or Mary where she desperately needs it right now for some reason.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And again, I love the deck. I got into it because I love the artwork. I thought the artwork was beautiful for it. And I like Halloween. So I played it. I played it with the skeleton. And it's absolutely so satisfying when I can pull off that burn mill situation where I make them banish their deck. Because I used to play it with Soul Absorption back in the day. So, I mean, I used to love wrecking people with this deck. And they never even saw it was coming. So it was so much fun. But yeah, it's good support, but Konami, we need the reprints. Now, speaking of nice support here, they have the dual mat, which I am really excited for. I want to get my hands on this. Carlos, how much do these typically go for? You said they usually weren't terribly expensive.
I mean, to be fair, I say things aren't terribly expensive, but for like, but I've gotten to the point where I spend a ridiculous amount of money on crap I really don't need. To be fair, Ghostrick. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if it's on eBay. Ghostrick. What's it called? The dual game mat.
I don't think it's out yet. I'm not sure if it is. Is it Grunt?
I've seen someone with it, but
have you? Okay.
He got his hand. He probably could have just gotten his hands on it earlier. Honestly, if I had to guess, I'd say like 120.
Oh, see, that's too much for me. Darn it. Okay, yeah, that's too much cash for me.
It's a great playmat, though. It looks beautiful.
It does. I love the artwork. I've always liked Ghostrick mats. That is definitely something at some point I want to get. Just because I love that artwork. So I would be hyped to get one. Okay, so speaking of some good support here, and I had to laugh when I saw Grunt's title for this. Vampire support that doesn't suck. Okay, so let's take a look at what's coming here. So Vampire Ghost Ogre, it's a level 3, it's a zombie, it's dark type. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. First effect. If this card is normal summoned, you can send one other vampire card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard, and then you get to add one level 4 or higher vampire monster from your deck to your hand. And if you do, send one level 2 or lower vampire monster from your deck to the graveyard. During the main phase, this is a quick effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard and pay 500 life points. Immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one vampire monster. Now notice any vampire monster you get to normal summon it. I think that's pretty cool. Then you've got the Xyz here, the Undead Vampire. It's a rank 8 zombie type dark. It takes 2 plus level 8 monsters. If you use a monster or monsters with a level that is owned by your opponent for the Xyz summon of this card, treat it as level 8. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. Neither player can target this card with the effects of a monster special summoned from anywhere other than the graveyard. 2. You can detach one material from this card, send the top 4 cards of each player's deck to the graveyard. Then, if a monster or monsters was sent to the graveyard or graveyards, with this effect, you can special summon one of them to your field. Oh man, that's just so good. Okay, and then we have the last card here, the Link 3. It's Vampire Fascinator. Again, it's a zombie dark type. 2 plus monsters are required here because it's a Link 3. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is link summoned, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard. You cannot special summon other monsters for the rest of this turn, except zombie monsters. Also, special summon the targeted monster to your field in defense position. 2, you contribute one vampire monster, then target one monster your opponent controls, and take control of it until the end phase. Okay, so Carlos, what are your thoughts about this vampire support?
So, I think the first card, the effect monster, I think that card is absolutely nuts.
Yes.
Because it does like everything the deck needs it to do. And I'm not super familiar with vampires again, but like I've played it briefly, and I know they want a foolish. So it's nuts because it searches on summon.
Yeah.
It also foolish burials. It also acts as an extender that lets you normal summon another one, and it's like ridiculously good for the deck because a lot of the issues that vampires have is that they can normal summon, and then what do you do after you normal summon, right?
Yeah.
This makes it so that you can normal summon and then you can go into one of your level 5 vampire monsters, and the whole shtick is they want to normal summon the bigger vampire monsters that steal your opponent's monsters,
Yeah.
hence the effect of the Xyz. And
Yeah.
so it's really good. And then I'm pretty sure the level 2 vampire monsters get graveyard effects as
Yes,
well.
they do.
So overall,
Yes.
this card is probably like amazing for the archetype. And then the Xyz I think is good as well.
Yeah.
Not being able to target
Uh-huh.
besides monster specials from the graveyard, like that's protection, you know.
Yeah, because there's plenty of the cards that do not special summon from the grave; they special from the deck. So
Yes.
that's actually pretty useful if you're playing a deck that revolves around using their main deck monsters not going to the grave, or they're using extra deck monsters. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty good effect too. But sorry, continue your thought.
But yeah, the second effect, like the second effect's whatever to me. Like okay, you can maybe special summon one from
Yes.
from your
From either player's
special
graveyard.
one.
Now that's interesting to me. If you take the one combo piece they need, like for example, let's say someone's running Halki, and
Yes.
you mill their tuner, the one tuner that they've got to do their combo. Oh man, does that bite? Yes, I intended that. If you
Yeah,
end
like
up
if
taking that.
like if they're playing like the Auroradon combo and you mill their 001,
Uh-huh.
like so they can't special summon they can't special summon it off the Halki. That's really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely see what you mean from there. But I think it could be better. But overall, it's good.
Yeah.
And then the Link monster, you're gonna have to go back to that slide. I totally forgot what the Link monster.
Yeah. So it says if it's Link summoned, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard. You cannot special other monsters for the rest of this turn except for zombie monsters. Also, special summon the targeted monster to your field in defense. And then the second effect, you contribute one vampire monster, then target one monster your opponent controls, and then you get to take it until the end phase.
Yeah, so really good effect on summon, because you can just use the monster you snatch to make an Xyz. Also, it's got good synergy with Vampire Sucker. Obviously, I mean it's part of the vampire archetype. But because then you can get a draw if you have Vampire Sucker as well. So overall, really good cards. I like it, and good support again.
Yeah, absolutely. Grunt, your thoughts?
So I'll say real quick that I have something that came up, so I have to go in about 20 minutes.
That's okay. That's all right.
I'm not trying to, but yeah, I'll just quickly say before we move on that yeah, Ghost Ogre is easily the best part of this. I mean, one, it gets you a search, it lets you pitch something from your hand, which could be another one of the level 2 or lower, and then you could pitch the other one, and then you can pitch him, summon the level 1 or 2, search a monster or spell, banish him for an extra normal.
Yep.
He does so much. The level 3 just does so much. The rank 8 is okay. I mean, he's got great protection, and milling 4 might be counterproductive at times, but he's still a huge body. You're able to bring back something you mill. And the Link 3, again, just natural link climbing now for them because you're able to build her off of Sucker, or if you have Sucker, you can gain advantage, like Carlos said. So for 3 cards, Vampire's got a lot of support here.
Yeah, I agree. And I like that it's going to lead to more experimentation. So I see lots of vampire decks that run Zombie World, and I think this is going to be very fun for them because a lot of these cards say you have to have zombies. So if everything becomes a zombie with Zombie World, that just helps this deck have even more fuel. So it's going to be interesting because it's going to hit the OCG here really soon to see what some of the players over there start doing with it. And of course, what we start doing with it, because I believe these cards are already in the simulators. So very exciting. Now, some other support, and I was really surprised by this Nordic. Now, I cannot believe how much people love Nordic cards. So I have a small eBay business, for those of you who don't know, and I just sell decks cheap that helps me run a local club. Now, the club isn't going like it usually is, but the kids getting cards is. And so, because I still show kids how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! But Nordic, people love Nordic. I have this Odd Eyes Pendulum Nordic deck, and it sells like wildfire on there. I have no idea why. But it just shows me there must be a definite base for this. And so it's exciting that there's some good support here. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the first one. It's a level 3 light tuner beast monster. For a synchro summon, you can substitute this card for any one Nordic tuner. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can special one Nordic monster from your hand. You can target one Nordic monster in your graveyard, accept this card, and add it to your hand. Then we've got the Nordic Smith here. It's a level 4 Earth Warrior monster. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If you control a Nordic or a Seer monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Great extending. And if this card is normal or special, you can add one Nordic Relic card from your deck to your hand. And then we've got the Spell and Trap card here. So we've got Nordic Relic, and I have no idea how to say the rest of that name. Grunt, how do I say the rest of that? The normal.
I'm going off of I'm gonna go off of here of like a German or a Dutch interpretation. Let's see. Glidzjolf or something like that.
There we go. Sounds good. I have no clue how to say that, everybody. All right, so you can only use one of the first and second effects of this card's name each per turn, and only once that turn. So it's a hard once per turn. So special summon one Nordic monster from your deck. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck while the summoned monster is face up on the field, except Asir monsters, which the Nordic synchros are those. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add one Nordic monster from your deck to your hand, then shuffle one card from your hand into the deck. And then you've got Nordic Relic Civilin. You can use the first, only one of the 1 and 2 effects of this card's name per turn, and only once that turn. If you control an Asir monster, you can negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. You contribute one Nordic monster, then target one Asir monster in your graveyard and special summon it. I like this one. Now, it's a continuous trap too. So what I like about it, wouldn't this stop Mystic Mine, guys, if it says all face-up cards?
Oh yeah, this is gonna stop Mystic Mine.
I mean,
I love it for that. I love
absolutely,
it for that. Like,
absolutely.
Cards that counter Mystic Mine in the deck that you don't have to play, that you don't have to like go outside of your archetype to like play spell trap removal. Yes, please. So
yes.
This is a really good card, and mind you, it also negates like all face up monster effects. So this could be very powerful in Nordic. I mean, I really like the support overall. Like, you get 2 really good extenders in the monsters.
Yep.
Then you get a bonkers extender in the spell because you can special summon one from the deck, and then it's a searcher too. Like, come on, man! Like archetypes wish they had an extender and a searcher in one card.
Yeah.
And then the trap card is just. It's good as well. Like, overall, this is really good Nordic support.
I love the trap. I think the trap is probably my favorite support for the deck, just because of the fact, like you're saying, you can negate anything that's face up on the field is fantastic. Grunt, your thoughts?
So, I mean, the only thing is you do need the synchro, but at the same time, it is so easy to facilitate a synchro these days with the new support, not to mention the old support. So, they have that Link monster and that one other card they got support with 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
So, in a vacuum, Nordics are still not going to do much, but this is still much appreciated support. Everything here is fine. The thing is, though, with Evaldi here, if you're going to search a Nordic Relic, I'm pretty sure it's only going to be these 2, because if you look back at all the old relics kind of suck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're nowhere near as good as this. And that's what I like. This is to me a 3-up for the deck, the Nordic Smith, just because you're going to get the relic card. That's what you're going for, is that trap. Or you could go for the spell. I mean, depending on your situation. But it's going to be easy to get out because if you can special it so easy. You just have to control a Nordic or an Asir monster. This thing hits the field, and then after that, you're getting the spell or the trap to your hand. That is fantastic support. Yeah, I could not be more pleased with the direction.
So the only
Yeah.
good, so I was gonna say beforehand, the only good Nordic relic card was a trap. That was a searcher, and anytime you have a searcher on a trap like that is not good. So
Actually, Glipnir, Fetters of Fenrir, it's not a Nordic relic. It
oh,
doesn't have Nordic
okay.
relic in the name, so that
What?
just kind of goes to show.
Well, never mind then. There is absolutely not a good Nordic relic card before this.
But I
Yeah.
like it. It's good, and they're definitely moving in the right direction here. Now, this is a big one for all of us who are talking to you today, the Megatins. So we have been waiting for months. These are supposed to come out well before October here. Some people have already received theirs. Carlos has already done super well. He didn't get cross out designator, but Carlos three triple tactics, right?
I didn't open my case yet. I just wanna verify. I've only opened up loose tins from card shops.
Unbelievable.
Me too. I've only opened 3 loose tins
Oh
from
my
my
gosh.
local shop.
I've opened 6.
Wow.
But they've been from different places, and Megan bought me one. So, shout out Megan. But
And-
I pulled a playset of triple tactics talent already, which is like, I mean, come on, man. It's the it's the second most expensive card.
That is
just
already. The guys, if you watch the channel, it's amazing this man's luck. I'm telling you. I feel like him and Megan are the power couple of getting the best cards for Yu-Gi-Oh. So it's just amazing to me. But there is a problem with the Megatins, and I am hoping hard, because it's the first time I have ever went ahead and bought cases before. I've never done this. And the problem that we've got here is that rares are being put in place of the ultra rares. So literally there are some tins that only have 3 rares in a pack versus the 2 ultras you're supposed to get in the 1 rare. That is absolutely frightening if you've went ahead and invested into this. Grunt, what other information do you have for us with this? Has it been a bigger issue than people are making it out to be on Twitter, or is it starting to settle down?
So, and I'm just kind of speaking from my own experience. Carlos, did you have any issues with your ratios?
Out of the loose tins I've opened, I have no issues. But I just wanted to say, like, this is absolutely unacceptable from Konami. Like, bro, you've delayed these tins like how many months now, and you still have QAQC issues like this. The chase cards in this set are the ultra rares. They're all in the ultra rare slots. And if people aren't getting their ultra rares, what's the point in opening these tins? Because the secrets are absolute garbage. Anyways, Grant, I'm sorry I jumped in. You can continue.
I think that Konami just needs to find a new factory to trust with their quality control, because here's the thing, I will blame Konami for a lot of things. And at the end of the day, it's quality control. But the thing is, the factories where these cards and tins are produced, it's outsourced by Konami. So honestly, I've kind of more ticked off at the people in charge of packing these and sorting these, because Konami isn't looking at every single tin before it's shipped out. So I get it, quality control sucks, but it's kind of a middleman. I'm sure that Konami is grilling whoever the heck they've traced back to this being responsible. Because I'll say this, for my loose tins, I have had no issues yet.
Oh, good.
So what I am under the impression of, and I'm not trying to underline this whole issue as being nothing, but I think that because we have such a broad network of people, it's only a matter of time before people have issues with product. And I'm not saying there's no problems, but I feel like, you see the people who experience the problem and you think it is a lot larger than it is. It's a problem, but I don't think every other person is going to have this ratio issue. It's definitely an issue, but I am holding out that Carlos and I and you are probably not going to have any issues with ratios, just because the chances of that seem to be relatively slim compared to all the travesty we've seen. Because there have been a lot of people I've seen online who have opened up tins and stuff as well, and they haven't had ratio issues. So
good.
Well, think about it. There's hundreds, there's thousands even of people who open these tins, and if there's a quality issue that's even 0.1% there,
Yeah.
you're going to have tens of people who report it. So I'm not saying it's not a problem. I am just saying that problems tend to look a lot bigger and more widespread through the internet than they actually are. It's a problem. I just don't think it's nearly as widespread as people are thinking it is.
Well, and I'm hoping that that will be the case because
Yes.
I know that you personally, Grant, have had issues with boxes you've gotten before. I know there's
Eh,
been definite concerns.
I've
Um,
had a few. Like, the only issue I had recently was I've had a box where I only got one secret, and that
yeah,
was Lightning Vortex,
yes.
or Lightning Overdrive.
Same. I had a Daunt of Majesty box where I only got one secret.
Wow.
But other than
Wow.
that, I've never felt shafted. Like, if I ever get shafted by RNG and getting bad luck and clumping, like, King's Court, easily one of my least favorite sets from the year because I literally got two boxes back to back that had the same crappy cards and
Yeah.
nothing else to
Yeah.
go for them. So that's just personal experience.
Don't you mean best set of the year, King's Court, Grant? I'll have you know, King's Court is a great set. I originally hated it, but I will let you know now. This set is one of the best sets of the year for sure.
Tens more than King's Court, and I will take that to my grave.
You can't pull a $300 card in the tins.
I can pull Crossout Designator. I don't really care if my God card looks extra shiny or someone shoved glitter up it.
I don't care about the God cards. I think that the secret rare speed duel ones look better. I just care that I was able to sell mine for like $300 plus dollars,
which is good. But this worries me though with the quality control that is happening. I am really hoping that I don't have that happen to me because it's frustrating when you feel like you're going to get everything you need and then it may not happen. So I am hoping that that will not be the case, and I think it's Konami's responsibility. Your job as a company is to please the customer, and so this is definitely something that they should fix if it ends up being more widespread as more tins are being released to the public. So we will definitely see going forward. And like Carlos said, it is the ultra cards that we're after. So the fact that it's specifically the ultra cards that are affected is what really makes this frustrating. So hopefully that won't be the case.
So before we move on to the next stuff, I wanted to say one last thing before I head out in like 5 minutes.
Nope, no problem. Go ahead.
So if you want to go back to the previous slide, one of the things to bring up is we do get Crossout Designator in the tins.
Yes.
Which is a big deal. For those who don't know, we have been waiting well over a year and a half for this card to finally come to the TCG, and it's definitely been divisive. I have heard a lot of divisive comments on this card, so I don't know if you guys want to offer your 2 cents. I'll just say real quick that I've used it, I've went against it like online, and it's definitely annoying at times, especially since like Call by the Grave, it can see more utility than just killing hand traps. But I don't know. I understand people are like, oh, it's $100 per card. I don't want to buy a playset. I understand how frustrating that can be, but I don't know. This is definitely something that's going to see a lot of use, especially I think in our online tournaments.
Carlos, your thoughts?
I've told you this before. I don't mind it because I feel like it's a self-balancing card in a way almost.
Yeah.
Because you're forced to play 3 copies of it, and you're also forced to play the card that you want to negate. Like you can't just blanket negate it like you can with Call by the Grave. With this, you actually have to have the copy of the card in your deck, which it's like, okay, so now you have to build your deck around in a weird way where you're playing a lot of one of hand traps, or you have to side deck the hand trap you think are going to hurt you.
Yeah.
But you might not be able to take full advantage of it. It's a really, really weird kind of dichotomy. Like it's a good card when you can pull it off, but it's also a card that kind of checks itself.
Absolutely. I agree. It's going to be interesting to see how much of an impact it has. It will have an impact, no doubt. but it's going to be interesting to see how much players play it, especially when it gets to their consistency. So very interesting for sure. Grunt, since you do have to go here shortly, I'd be fine if we go ahead and just stop here because it's a perfect segue before we actually get into the Ice Jade cards.
Yeah, so if you want to keep going, you can. Otherwise, I am pretty much open in the afternoons and nights if we wanted to postpone this. I'm going to leave it up to you guys since we've continued streams without Carlos. So if you guys want to continue, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, it's fine because I was probably gonna go when Megan finished dinner, and I don't know how
Yeah.
long. It's not gonna
No,
be
it's
too
actually
long,
a perfect stopping point. So I think that's fine. So, guys, we will pick this up with Ice Jade next time. So, but anyways, that was very fun to look at. And guys, thanks again so much for being part of the podcast.